Welcome to the Observe Day podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. Hey, as we celebrate Global Diversity Awareness Month, we're shining a light on the people who are redefining what leadership and inclusion look like in today's workplaces. My guest, Julia Rock, is a powerhouse of practical leadership wisdom. She's a keynote speaker, leadership consultant, and certified executive coach who helps leaders cut through the noise, prevent burnout, and build environments where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. From the TEDx stage to our Substack, Leadership Uncomplicated, Julia has been calling out the myths of modern leadership, reminding us that effective leadership isn't about more frameworks or buzzwords. It's about clarity, courage, and compassion. Today, we'll explore how inclusive leadership and cultural competence are vital for thriving workplaces and how diversity, when combined with humanity, becomes a catalyst for success. Welcome to the podcast, Julia.
Thank you, Wisdom. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here and to speak with you today.
Yeah, before we start the conversation, we're talking about Global Diversity Awareness Month. What does diversity really mean to you as a leadership coach?
So what diversity means is really that there are differences, whether it's differences in background, in gender, in thoughts and perspectives, age, whatever it might be. That diversity to me just means differences and seeing the beauty in the differences. And it doesn't have to just be demographic. It can be, different thoughts, different
Yeah,
ideas, different points of view, and really, being able to bring those things together is what creates more inclusive workplaces and more successful and productive workplaces. When you have diversity, organizations, they simply do better. The research proves that as well.
yeah. You've been both a corporate leader and executive coach.
Mhm.
What personal experiences shaped your passion for reimagining leadership and preventing burnout?
So, I mean, it's a couple of different things. Some of it is what I went through on
Okay.
my journey to my next position in leadership, and as I continue to go up the ladder, I think about or I thought about what are the or who are the leaders that really helped to shape my experience. Who were the good ones who motivated me and encouraged me, and what were the things that they did really well? And then
Yeah.
I thought about the leaders that I had that were, let's say, maybe not so great. And I thought about what were the traits that they displayed that I either bumped heads with or I saw negative effects on the team or the people around them. And
Yeah.
in addition to that, I looked at the clients that I was serving at the time because I built my business alongside my corporate career before leaving corporate. And what I saw in terms of how my clients were dealing with leaders in their workplaces and how they talked about the leaders that were supportive of them, that cared about their career development. And I asked more about the traits of that leader, what they saw, et cetera.
Yeah.
And the same thing for leaders that weren't performing as well. And so having that different perspective from not just my clients, but also for myself, it really helped me to get an idea as to how are leaders truly effective? What is it that creates effective leadership where they are able to create impact in their organization, motivate their people, and get them to stay at the company?
Ooh, wow. You looked around and you notice a pattern and you're like, oh, what is it? What about this person is special? It's like it ignited the journey. You often say burnout isn't just a workload problem. And because for most persons when they hear burnout, oh, you work so much, so you
Hmm.
crashed and oh, so you burnt out. You said it's a leadership problem. That's a bold
Yes.
statement, a very bold statement. How does inclusion or lack of it play into burnout and disengagement?
Yeah, so when you think about it, the idea is like, oh, well, this person has too much work on their
Yeah,
plate. But from a leadership perspective, one, it is your job to make sure that the work is in the right places with the right people. And sometimes what may burn somebody out is that they're in a job that's not the right fit for them. It's not the right fit for their skill set. It's not the right fit for their temperament or anything. And so you as a leader need to be able to do that kind of analysis on your team and figure out, do you have the right people in the right places? Also, what can drive people is not feeling welcome on the team. So we talked a little bit about inclusion. If you have a new member on your team and your other team members are not sharing knowledge with them, not welcoming them, not creating a kind of a cohesive, collaborative environment, it's easy for someone to feel stressed and overwhelmed with what's happening because they feel like they're doing it on their own and they don't have any support.
Yeah.
The other thing that can drive burnout as well is when someone feels like their work isn't of value, right? Like you're just going to work, you're just cranking out the widget,
Yeah.
but no one is telling you why your work is important, why it matters, who benefits from it. And so you begin to burn out saying, my work is worthless. I'm just going to do this and get a check. And I'm going to go home because it doesn't matter anyway. And that is also what can help facilitate burnout. So it's not really just, okay, it's workload. There's so many different factors that leaders have to pay attention to in order
Yeah.
to make sure their team members don't feel that.
Oh, you said there's so many things that leaders have to pay attention to. What are some of these things?
Yeah, so I mentioned a few of them, but also just one of the key things is looking at how their employees are showing up at work. People often feel like, okay, if my employees aren't saying anything, that means no news is good news, right? But if you are a leader, you're able to see, okay, what is this person's demeanor when I have meetings with them, when I engage with them, when they're talking with others? Are my employees okay? What kind of things am I hearing from them when I'm in their one-on-ones? Are they stressed out? Do they have questions? Do they seem frustrated? And they also have to pay attention to what kind of work products is coming out. Oftentimes, leaders feel like, okay, the work is getting done, but it doesn't matter. But the question becomes, how long do people have to work to get things done? And have they seen that the quality of work is changing in a period of time because people either have to stay longer or they have to take more time to do things, they need more resources, they have to give up nights and weekends, because I used to work in finance and
Yeah.
there was a lot of times where you're working really, really late. You leave the office at 11 and you're back at 6 the next day. And so a cycle of that, people just get stressed out and the quality of work will decline over time because we're not meant to work at that level.
Yeah.
So it's really for leaders to pay attention, pay attention to how their employees are showing up at work, looking at the quality of work that they're getting, looking at their demeanor and interaction between each other to figure out, okay, are my employees feeling valued? Are they feeling seen? Am I listening to what they have to say? And then making adjustments as needed.
No, no, no news. That did stick. Okay. And you said the leaders should pay attention to how they show up. Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observe Day newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now let's get back to the conversation.
Mhm.
How they
That's right.
show up. That itself, even though it's simple, it kind of sounds abstract. What does it mean, like, to pay attention to how they show up?
Yeah, sure. So let's say that you and I are working together, right? And let's say you're on my team, Wisdom.
Okay.
And you get hired and I see that you're coming to work and you're energized, you're excited,
Yeah.
you're talking to everyone, building relationships. When you and I have a one-on-one, you have a good personality, you're talkative. But then after a while, I'm noticing that maybe you're not as talkative. You're not helping as many team members. Perhaps you're showing up late. Perhaps you're
Yeah.
feeling sad. And I've seen the shift from when you first joined the organization to
Yeah.
where you are today. And it's like, something's going on. And that would allow me to ask you some questions to say, hey, Wisdom, is everything okay? How are things going? Do you need some additional support? But a lot of leaders, they just feel like, okay, if Wisdom's getting his work done, it's not my job to figure out what's happening in his personal life or what's happening in other
Yeah.
areas. It's not my business. And so that's what I really mean by paying attention to how your employees are showing up.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, because I was like, show up. What does it mean to, like, pay attention to show up? I was like, okay, now we're right to a level where we can understand. Thank you,
Of course.
Julia.
Of course.
Yeah, one of the statements you make is Leadership isn't complicated; it's just hard. And me, I'm looking at the statement. I'm wondering, well, complicated. What exactly is going on here? Can someone tell me what is happening? So, can you unpack that statement for us?
Absolutely, absolutely. What I mean by that is leadership is something that is simple, but not everything that is simple is easy. Let me give you
Mm,
an example.
okay.
So think about when it comes to losing weight, right?
Okay.
In order to lose weight, you have to do two things. You likely have to lower your calories, so you have to eat less, and you have to do more physical activity, so you have to burn
Okay.
more calories. It's a very simple formula. It's not hard to understand, but it is hard to do because perhaps you like certain foods, you don't like working out as much, and so it takes a lot more effort to do it even though it's something simple. The same thing happens with leadership. You don't have to get lost in complicated frameworks and assessments and certifications. You really have to do simple things to get to know your employees, build relationships with them, set the vision and clarity. It's simple things, but it takes work to do. And a lot of leaders feel like, well, I don't have the time, or I already did this assessment or this methodology or this program, and that should be enough, not realizing that the true work of leadership is hard because it means coming out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Means advocating for your people, showing courage. And so that's really what I mean when I say it's not complicated. It's just hard. So for a lot of people, the weight loss example makes a lot of sense. It's like, yeah, it is hard to lose weight. You've got to do all these make these changes, but it's not complicated. You just got to eat less and work out more. That's really the main formula.
You just gave us the formula for losing weight. Can you give can you give us the formula for being a great leader?
Absolutely. So what I built as part of uncomplicated leadership is I built 5 C's. And because I looked at every leader that I knew that was strong and effective, not just in my life, but in the lives of my
Yeah.
clients and peers and so forth. So I did that research over a period of time, and I realized that all of them had 5 traits that they had 5 traits in common in some way. And those 5 traits are clarity, consistency, connection, courage, and celebration. So clarity is really being able to be clear with your team, set the expectations, communicate effectively. Consistency is making sure that you're showing up in the same way as a leader so that people don't know, okay, well, what wisdom am I going to get today? Is he going to show up and he's going to,
Yeah.
have one position and then tomorrow it's something else? Connection means, spending time developing deeper relationships with your team members, not just focusing on the tasks they need to do. Courage is really being willing to advocate on behalf of your people and not being afraid to do that. And then lastly, it's around celebration, recognizing people for a job well done. Leaders always know how to tell employees when they're doing something wrong, but
Yeah.
it's always a struggle to get them to celebrate the work that the employees do and say thank you. And so what I have found is that if leaders master those 5 things, they can be absolutely effective no matter where they lead, no matter what level of leadership that they're at. Those 5 things will help them to be successful.
Well, the 5 C's: connection, celebration, um, connection,
Courage,
wish, courage. There are many to
clarity, and consistency.
clarity, clarity, and consistency. I was hoping to hear confidence.
So confidence goes into courage.
Okay.
So if you have a certain level of confidence personally, you're going to be able to show up in a conversation and be willing to advocate for your people because you're sure of yourself and who you are, and you realize that your value is not tied to this job or this title or this company. So
Yeah.
I weave confidence into the courage item.
Okay. The reason I had to bring that up is you did mention that confidence, not competence, holds many
Yes.
leaders back, and I want us to look at it from this perspective. Um, I'm just given a leadership opportunity. I'm like for the very first time, I made the leader of a team, and like I've never done this in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I literally don't have any clue. What do I see? How do I, you know, everything's just moving fast. And I'm like, I'm afraid I don't do the wrong thing. And in being afraid, I end up not doing the right thing in the first place.
So here's the thing about leadership and the idea between confidence and competence,
Okay.
right? So when it comes to competence, it's really about, okay, can you execute the task? Can you do the
Okay.
job? And typically if you wisdom, this is your first time doing it, someone saw a high level of competence for you to even get the job in the first place. But here's the difference. As a leader, it's not your job to do everything. That's what you have a team of people for. And so a lot of leaders, they get lost in, do I know how to do this or that? And then, like you said, they end up feeling like I didn't do the right thing, I didn't make the right decision,
Yeah.
or what have you. But it's like, had you focused on how do I use the people on my team to get things done, and how can I show up in my team with my team in a confident way, letting them know, hey, I don't have all the answers right now, but
Yeah.
I'm going to rely on your judgment, and we're going to work together to get ABC done, or EDEFG, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
So it's really about understanding who you are and understanding that it's okay as a leader to not know everything, but it's your role to engage the people who do. The higher you go up the ladder, it's less and less about the tactical and the techniques and the methods that you know how to use. It's less about competence and more about your ability to lead and corral people together to get things done. And that takes a high level of confidence.
Okay. Well, don't you think that understanding the technicals sometimes can help the leader connect with the members of the team?
I fully agree with that. But there's a difference between having a base understanding and feeling like you need to master everything. That's where some leaders get lost. They feel like they have to master everything that their team members are doing in order to effectively lead. And that then it stunts their growth as they go further up the ladder, is because when you're managing a team of, one of my teams was 70 people. When you're
Yeah.
managing a team of 70 people, there is no way for you to know and master what every single person does. But I had to have an understanding of how things worked and generally, what tasks were being performed in order for me to make informed decisions. But that's it. I didn't have time to really get into the nitty gritty of everything, or else I wouldn't have been able to get anything done. And so
Yeah.
I believe for leaders, it's important to have a base understanding, a high level understanding, so that you can address the problems that are brought to you. But it's not about you knowing every single thing about every single thing. You'll never get anything done that way.
Oh, I love that. Um, I did prepare a lightning round for you.
Okay?
You ready?
Yes, let's do it.
What's a word that defines great leadership for you?
Courage.
That's not fair. It was five C's, but you picked. Okay. uh, what's one workplace behavior you wish would disappear forever?
Um, Forced in office attendance.
What's a book or quote that changed how you view leadership?
I got this piece of advice from an old boss. If you're not making mistakes, you're not learning anything.
Oh, well, what? And if you're making repeated mistakes, you're not learning anything.
Well, yeah. So you're not supposed to make the same mistakes
Yeah,
and over again.
yeah,
But it's okay to make mistakes to learn.
yeah. What's one misconception about burnout you want to debunk?
That it's not just on the individual; it's on the organization and the leaders as well.
Oh, okay. What's a culture or person who's inspired your leadership style?
My dad.
Okay. What's one thing every employee wants but rarely gets?
Recognition.
Okay. And finish this sentence. When leaders simplify, teams dash.
Excel.
Okay. Wow, wow, that was fantastic. It sounded as though I sent you the questions beforehand.
And you didn't.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, this has been a blast. Thank you so much, Julia. Where can listeners learn more?
Absolutely. They can actually connect with me on LinkedIn. So my handle is Julia Dash Rock. I'm a top voice on the platform. So if you type in
Okay,
Julia Dash Rock, you'll see the little blue badge next to my name. So you make sure it's me. They can find me on the social media platforms at the Julia Rock. I'm on Threads. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, And then you can also email me. So if you have questions after listening to this episode, you can email hello@rocker.com and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Wow, thank you so much. I'll put the links mentioned in the description so listeners can click and go
Awesome.
there to the site. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you so much for having me, Wisdom. This was a great conversation. So much fun. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's it for today's episode of the Observe Day podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.